There is so many different layers and things going on in the 2024 Oddity film that I literally could not stop watching it. Oddity 2024 rated R comes in at 1 hour 38 minutes. It's listed as supernatural horror thriller, and it says that a psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. It was directed by Damian McCarthy. It was written by Damian McCarthy. It stars Carolyn Bracken, Johnny French, Steve Wall. So I watched this movie on Shudder, and let's talk about a little bit more in depth about what it is about, aside from what IMDB is saying. Now this will be spoiler free, so don't worry, we won't go into too much detail here other than what you might have seen on the trailer. So like I said, Oddity was a little bit of an oddity. You know, you're seeing several storylines go on at once, and at the heart of it is like what the thing said. It's a psychic medium. She's trying to find out what happened behind her sister's murder. So at the heart of this movie, you have that whodunit murder mystery thing. You have like a ghost haunting supernatural situation going on, and then you have like a, you know, go bumps in the night horror film, that type vibe going on, right? There's just several things taking place. Now let's talk about the setting for a minute, because this to me really worked. The setting is mostly in two places, but mostly one, and that's the house that this couple, or one of them at least, the doctor, has, and it looks like an English countryside or Irish countryside, whatever it is. And it looks like, to me, like what a castle would look like, right? But I mean, I'm from the States, so I don't know what an actual castle looks like over there. But it's this massive country estate, okay, in the middle of nowhere. And it has lots of places for, you know, darkness and doors and windows and creepiness and all that. It completely adds to the setting. Now, another place that is featured prominently in this is a psychiatric hospital. And it gives all those kind of vibes of the, what goes on here? Oh my gosh, is there humane stuff? What's happening? This, that, and the other. So like I said, you're watching several storylines take place, and at the heart of it is a sister and her husband or partner, I'm not sure at the time. I do believe they were married, but she has an untimely death, and you're left to kind of figure out in the beginning, you think it might have gone this way or you think it's this, but the sister will come in later to, you know, basically solve that and whatnot. Now, I will say this about this film. Pretty much early on, I guessed what was going on. I was like, yeah, this is probably what happened. Part of it is because of the true crime that we watch. If you're from my true crime channel, you'll know, like, we've seen this 100 times over, right? You know what I'm saying? However, what made it so on the edge of your seat was the multiple storylines going on with it. It wasn't just the whodunit. It was also the psychic medium aspect. It was also the haunting aspect. It was also the all these things, right? So it had all that going on. Now, when you want to talk about jump scares, uneasiness, things like this, I watched this during the daytime, and you know, I'm not joking, there were several times where watching it, I was so on the edge of my seat and like literally coming unglued from the tension. One time I was doing something and one of the dogs barked right at the moment. When I tell you, I all but stuck to the ceiling like a cat does in the cartoons. Y'all, it sent me over the edge, okay? So this was a user suggested movie, if however you say that. This was a viewer suggested film that I watched on one of the true crime live chats we just did. Somebody mentioned this, and so I found it on Shudder, and I was like, sold, let's watch it. And y'all, it was good. I highly suggest watching this. It was also fresh. There was something about it that just had, and again, I hate to even say this, it's so cliche, but an odd vibe to it that worked. The story was just unique. It combined several things that I like to see in a horror film. It wasn't just like a slasher, but it had a component of that. It wasn't just a horror film. It had a component. It wasn't just supernatural. It had a component. The director, the writer really brought all three of those together. Now, like I said, it is a little bit predictable. That's my one biggest complaint with this. I actually would say another thing too is that, and I'm not sure how you would even say this, but it's almost like it was shot on video. So at times it has that kind of vibe to it as opposed to film. I'm almost 47 at the time of this recording, so I grew up the original Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like that type grainy film look. So for me, that makes it more real, if that makes sense. Where things look a little bit more videotape-ish, it takes away from the dynamic for me. But again, I'm not 100% sure what they shot it on, but it had that little dynamic to it. A little bit of a Sci-Fi Channel vibe at times, okay? Not gonna lie. Does that mean that it was bad? No, absolutely not. This is definitely, you want to watch that. You want to watch this Halloween season, October, whatever you want to call it. You definitely want to check this out. It's a good one. So for me, did it make me put my phone down? 100%, right? I was on the edge of my seat with this one. It gets a slice, it gets a spice, it gets a dice. Okay. So go on, give it a watch. I watched this on Shudder. And this is not sponsored. Do not worry. I'm not trying to whatever. I went ahead and signed up for Shudder just because it's October. I wanted to see fresh stuff. There's several things on it that people have mentioned. That's also where they had, what's it called? Speak No Evil 2022. So I was like, you know what? It's worth signing up for the month or whatever. I don't know if you can see this elsewhere, but if you're willing to pay to see it somewhere, you might want to consider just signing up for Shudder for the month of October if you're not already a member of it or whatever, just because you can see a bunch of stuff, and then if you need to get rid of it, whatever you got to do, right? So anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think of it. Again, drop, if it's a spoilers, just, warn people down there in the comment section. Don't spoil it from, you know what I'm saying. So, but that's it. I do appreciate you watching until we meet at the big screen, the little screen, all the screens we watch this stuff on. I'll see y'all soon.